The message can't be much clearer. Radio's on and it's Gov's comedy. What's behind me in the mirror? Oh, that's right, it's also on TV. I can't wait for the action. I'm sick of sitting around here trying to read a book. I need a laugh reaction. After I watched just once, then I was hooked. Now I don't want to miss any Saturday night, you know I'm tuned to Govs. I get to see Don and Benny. It's Pasusu, put up, shut up, and stand up.
Any minute now.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Put Up, Shut Up, and Stand Up right here on GovsRadio.com, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Boxcast. And like my good friend Ken Pichello always says, we on TV. And yes, indeed, we are, folks. I'm your host, Don Sill. We got a great show for you today. We got John Povaro is on here talking about his Duppet. And we also have DC Benny, great comedian, been in the game for a long time. Staple of New York City. But as always, we are here with my good buddy, Benny Gagooch Rizzuti. Benny, how you doing, pal?
I'm doing great, buddy. How are you, man?
How's it going? Doing good. Just gearing up. We're getting ready to hit the road. I'm going away for Thanksgiving, going to North Carolina. I'm leaving on Sunday in a few days. So, but we still are going to have our Thanksgiving show next week.
Oh, it's going to be an awesome show. We are going to have a great. And I heard that Alfredo's going to be on that show too.
Alfredo Gagooch is cooking up a storm. He's getting all prepared.
He's cooking up. He's getting ready for a bigger Thanksgiving. Fangool of 10 people. They're going to cook for an army of Italianos.
So you're not going to comply to Cuomo's 10 people, family members only, and start to cut the list?
Alfredo's not. I'm going to comply, but Alfredo's not. So if we get busted, it's his fault. He invited him. I'm not taking any credit for that. But no, it's tough times. We got a curfew now too.
Yes,
got a 10 o'clock curfew.
We got to be in the 10. So we're getting closer and closer to the socialism. We're getting a taste of what 2021 is going to look like. But I digress. No, but
I don't know. I think things are going to get. We're going to go. It's going to go back eventually. Right now, this COVID we don't know anything about it. We really don't know. People think they don't know, and it's spreading. We're spreading it.
Yeah, it's starting to spread more and more. Even some good friends of ours of the show, Marla Schultz, recently posted that she just got about, her and her husband got about of the Rona. She's fighting through it and doing well, but struggling nonetheless. She lost her taste and smell, and is having fevers. and things like that. So we wish her all the best. Marla, get well soon.
Yes, I read that today.
Yeah. So I feel very bad for her and her husband. I'm sure they're going to fight through it. They are some tough people indeed. But yeah, man, it's just a tough year, and I'm hoping this vaccine. They say it's near completion and be ready possibly within weeks.
But what the Pfizer vaccine, what the Moderna vaccine do is give us hope that in a few months, this will really start turning around. The light at the end of the tunnel just got a little bit brighter.
Let's hope this vaccine is a real deal. People will start taking it, and hopefully we can ease back into normalcy in the new year. And have a normal Christmas. Maybe. I mean, Thanksgiving's already kind of getting disrupted, but maybe we could have a normal Christmas. Maybe Santa Claus won't get COVID and he could still make it down the chimney.
Christmas cannot be canceled, and it will not be canceled. I cannot get sick. I am Santa. I will be to your house on Christmas Eve to every child that wants me to come.
I saw the Santa's picture today on the cover of the Post, right? The New York Post. It was about the vaccine. It said, all I want for Christmas, but the picture is Santa Claus encased in plastic with a shield, and these two little kids on the outside of the box. He's like in a cube. He's like like a doll that you buy that's encased in a plastic. That's what Santa's in a plastic box, and he's got the shield. Well, why do you need the shield if you're in the plastic? What are you going to do? Some welding when you're in there? What the hell?
I'll tell you what. My daughter just took my granddaughter, my little granddaughter Emma, to her first pictures with Santa Claus, and he is also. It looks like we're at a Governor's Comedy Club. The stage is like a piece of plexiglass blocking Santa from my granddaughter and my daughter and her husband, and they're. It's a nice picture. It commemorates not only Emma's first Christmas, but also a sign of these times. So someday we could look back at this and go, "Oh my God, how did we do it?" And then laugh hysterically, hopefully. But yeah, man, this is what we're in store for. Even Santa Claus has to use the plexi sneeze guard.
Let's get serious. Put those trees up. Get the house decorated. Let's get everything going on. Start making those cookies for me. I love Christmas. I'm not going to miss it. I'm going to be there. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
But a lot of people are going through depression these days because of this.
Yes.
And, comedians also suffer from depression. And our next guest, John Povaro, has a short film called Dup It, where he really focuses in on his battle with depression, where this Dup It, which is kind of like a Muppet, it's kind of like his depression alter ego. It's always in his ear. It's a great take on it. I got to talk with John a little bit about it. You want to see it?
Of course. It sounds great. You just built me up.
Well, I lost you, Betty.
I'm excited. Let's see it. Sounds great.
Here it is.
Let the puppet speak for you.
It's okay. Don't be reticent.
Okay, it's just that I've been coming here for what, I'm not gonna do the voice. But I'm just saying I've been here for a while. I'm depressed. I just feel like I'm functioning with it. You know what I mean? So why push it?
What do you mean push it?
I mean, I don't want to kill myself, but I don't really have any connection to being alive.
All right, everybody. Our next guest is a very funny comedian who has performed everywhere, and he currently stars in Dup It, a short film with a unique look about living with depression. Here he is, folks. John Povaro. John, how's it going, man? How you been?
Good, dude. How are you?
Doing good. It's been a crazy year, and I think depression runs rampant. So I think for you to touch on that.
Yeah, people can relate more than ever too, and I think now is definitely a time when people feel more comfortable talking about it, because so many people, comedians, entertainers, people that are out there, in the public eye, have been talking about it a lot more. So it makes it easier,
For people that don't know, you're a stand-up comedian, and you put together this short film, right? About dealing with depression. Now, is this autobiographical? I would imagine.
Yeah, a lot of it is. And it kind of came about because, my friend and I lived together for a long time, and we both dealt with like depression in different ways and stuff, and like varying degrees of it. And we were joking around about what it feels like overall. And I was like, it's like living with a shitty roommate is what it's like. It's just like having somebody there the minute you wake up in the morning, just fucking punches you in the face, and then just runs down a list of everything that's wrong with you.
Hey, you're almost out of money.
Like, dude, it's fucking 9, man. I just woke up. Like, I'm not ready. So, and then I started to write it at the time. This is like years ago. And then I got involved with like a bunch of other projects. I moved out to LA for a bit, and it kind of got put in the back burner. And then when I came back, I was looking for stuff to pitch, and I thought it had always been on my mind because I was still dealing with it. And then it was heavy when I was in LA, like level depression, stuff like that too, because I was, by myself a lot of the time.
Right.
And I didn't know anybody out there. So then I kind of dug it back up, and I told my writing partner about it. And I was like, yeah, do you want to get into this? Like, something you're interested in? He was like, yeah. And we both love Jim Henson, and we both love the Muppets.
Hey, I'm Fuzzy Bear, and this is professional show business comedy.
So the shitty roommate quickly became a dude that we were going to cast, just as somebody that people didn't really see, to a puppet.
Hey, buddy. See, you put almond milk in your cereal. You know, it's not any healthier, right? It's just pretentious water you're drinking.
And I had one that somebody had gifted me a long time ago, and it wasn't doing anything but collecting dust in the garage. So a buddy of mine, Greg Johnson, grabbed the puppet, and we ordered because I have a shit ton of hair. We ordered I think it was a child-size Elvis wig for Halloween, glued it to the top of the puppet's head. We got a $20 leather jacket from a kid's leather jacket from a Target. And the puppet already had glasses and stuff. So we made it look like me, and this thing just became the antagonist of the short film that we did, and it wound up going pretty well.
I loved it, man. I watched it twice, getting ready to talk with you, and I love it too because look, I think a lot of people are starting to realize that that we all have depression or some form of it to some level, some more heavier than others, and it's so I think everyone who watches this could relate to this to some degree. But even when there's times throughout the short film where you really key in on it, like for instance, when you wake up and he's there, he's like, today's gonna suck.
Hey, it's gonna be another crappy day.
Right, right out of the gate.
That's what it is.
Right, yeah.
The minute you open your fucking eyes, it's just, you can't help it, man. Your brain just starts. For me, anyway, that's what it was like. For me, that the form, that it took was that it was, if I was sleeping, obviously you're sleeping, but the minute my fucking eyes woke up, my brain was just like a Rolodex of just shit that you can't control.
But I also love too that there is the moment too when you wake up and it's not there, and you're having this great day. Everything's going all right. You're running. He's not bothering you. And then, then he just jumps out when you don't want him to, and he gets, that depression just interferes with happiness.
Yeah, we had like 11 minutes where we really wanted to show, the varying degrees of it too, because it isn't around all the time, and you can't explain it. So for whatever reason, when it's gone, you do take advantage of those days. So you're having a good day or whatever. And then we also wanted to show that how quickly it could go away for no reason, and it just pops up. So
right, it's gone.
I think in the original script, there was some stuff we obviously wanted to do that we couldn't do because budget wise. Like, I didn't even really think about it in terms of making a short film. I just wanted to write the script and pitch it. But then we got the opportunity to make it into a short film. And I think that scene where he's like running or whatever initially was supposed to end with Duppet hitting me with a car. And that, like, just because it was supposed to be like, that's how fast and hard it could hit you. But we obviously couldn't. I would have taken it. I would have.
You would have taken the hit for the movie.
I was like, "Are we sure we can't do this?" And they're like, "Oh, that's a good idea. We don't have the budget or the health insurance."
Right? I have a lot of family who likes fucking they love Trump, and I don't know how to handle that kind of shit. But we have one thing in common, and that is during the inauguration, we all felt like it was going to be the series finale of America. For different reasons. Like for me, I was like, holy shit, they just killed off the favorite black character we had. So like...
You don't seem to, at least some of the stuff I watched, you don't seem to talk about depression too much in your act. So this was like a different side of you. And what was cool too is in Dup It, when you were on stage, he wasn't there, and you wouldn't let him in because that's when you're probably the happiest. You know, like a lot of comics, they're well, the adrenaline's going and nothing could get in their way. So I love that as well.
For comedians, no matter what you're going through, if you're on stage, it doesn't exist. You know, for whatever reason, once you hit that stage and the light hits you and the audience is there, you could have a fucking bone sticking out of your arm and you would still just absorb the energy, do your jokes, and then bleed out backstage somewhere. So, you know, like that was the kind of the concept of that was like, this thing doesn't get to follow me. That's where it can't get me. Right. And so that's kind of, you know, because when I was severely depressed, it was the same thing. It was like, I was still booking shows. I was still touring. And it was, and the entire day would be either spent in bed or avoiding people or, you know, just not acting like myself or whatever. But at fucking 8 o'clock, I had a gig. I went to the gig. I put on a show and then left and was like, so do I want to just Google how to kill myself? Or, you know, I was like, I want to like maybe just a little into oncoming traffic. Yeah.
It is good that we can joke about these things because it is dark. But another thing, getting back to the stand-up portion of the film, I also love how you used your depression in your act and overcame it that way, like with the puppet, and how you kind of threw the puppet at the end after you killed, you then threw the puppet like I won this round. Yeah. So we
wanted
cool.
to do that a little bit. It is weird because in the show it's implied that I do talk about it more than I actually talk about it on stage. I don't know. I've touched on it a little bit, like here and there, like in my act and somewhat, but it doesn't. I don't know why I don't talk about it too much. I think that's like where I want to distance myself from it, maybe.
Yeah, no, I think it works that way. I think it's good too as an artist to have all right, Dup It will handle all of that side of my writing skills, and then I'm going to do my stand up this way over here. You know?
I like the stand up being a nice escape from it too, and whatever.
Doesn't seem like that's not your shirt, sir. You admit that that's a married man. Like you didn't buy that she gave it to you. Like that is not like he used to have happier shirts. He used to have shirts with shit on them that said like NASA. Like he used to go out with a skip and a step, and now he's in that just fucking generic blue mousetrap of a shirt. Like that's what marriage to me is. Just you're just trapped in a shirt you fucking hate. You know what I mean? Like you don't know where you got it. You don't know how long you've had it, but it doesn't even quite fit anymore. But you're like, it's the only nice shirt you own. Like wearing like this collar tight. I can't breathe. What's going on? It's just always there. That's a nice shirt, man. You did a good job.
So
I think depression gets a raw deal in that end. I don't think I think we know people who have really been affected by it know and understand that it's a real thing and that it's a disease, I guess. I don't know what the proper way to put it, but it's never looked at like I forget who said it, but nobody feels sorry for a depressed person. It's like, get out of bed. Come on, what are you doing? They don't sympathize.
It's not a physical. You can't see it,
right.
So you don't. There's to anybody else. There's nothing wrong with you. You're either just lazy or you're not. Oh, just fucking snap out of it. That kind of thing too. But to an extent though too, it's like I do think there are things you can do. For yourself over time. Like I'm definitely one of those people who's like, if you need a day or even a week, fucking take it because the more you put it off, like the worse you're gonna feel anyway, or whatever, you know.
Right.
But like, I think, you know, there does become obviously a time when you have to like take something or go see somebody or do something about it, because there's only so much other people, like leaning on other people can do too.
Right. Yeah. You could exhaust that person.
Yeah, absolutely. You exhaust that person, and it winds up becoming a real a deal breaker for friendships there for a little bit, which is, it's no fault of anybody else, but like I've been around people who are super depressed too, and even if you're not, man, it can suck you in, and you're just like, oh God, I need to, you know, it's a thing. But people have to acknowledge it, and that's why I think that like the whole crux of the short film is basically about communication, because, you know, once he winds up opening up to his friends, he sees they have their own duppet. Like he winds up seeing everybody else's thing, so he's like, holy shit. So I think that made him feel less alone, because that's another thing depression does too that nobody talks about, is that it's supposed to isolate you. It makes you feel alone. It makes you feel like you're the only person going through this. And not only that, even if you've gone through it before, for whatever reason in your head, it makes you feel like it's brand new. This one's different, and you're never coming out of it.
Yeah, it sometimes when I feel I'm going into it, or I feel like here it goes, I'm in now. Like, you know, you just know you're just not the same as you like to be, and then you're like, you know, I always wonder how long is this one gonna take before I snap out of it.
Do you get comforted by it? Because I kind of get like, if I know it's coming like that, I just kind of go, oh, okay, so the next few days are gonna be like this. And I really do just kind of lay back into it. Like, I swan dive. Yeah, I like swan dive into it now.
Yeah, you got to kind of savor it. Yeah, because like it's similar. I like literally I'm just coming out of it now. This reverie that I've been in the last couple of days, and that was what also was cathartic watching Dup It. And I think everybody should watch Dup It, because comedians, most of us do have depression issues. So, but I think too, for those who don't get it, it's good to watch it, because not only do you see you going through it, the human being, John, but you also see what's going on in your head with the Dup It, and when the messages that's kind of going on in your subconscious, and how it's dragging you down, like the date that you couldn't bear to sit through, the coffee date you had to run out.
Hey, I'm so happy we can make this work.
You know what? I'm so sorry this isn't gonna work out, but you know, it's not you, it's me, and I gotta go.
Hey, so now that he's gone, maybe the two of us. Oh, right, you can't see me. Great. Now I'm sad.
I think it's powerful, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's 11 minutes. It's funny. It's also powerful, and you know, I definitely enjoyed it. And you know, what's the biggest thing that you want for viewers to when they watch it to kind of get out of it?
I think just to get out that they're not alone. I think that's the most important thing, is to realize that literally, like they always say, misery loves company thing or whatever. Well, so do people who are depressed, because it just shows you, not that you want ever anybody to feel like that, but it just makes you feel fucking normal. Right. To know that on some level, every single person has either some kind of anxiety thing or some level of sadness. There's people, you ever meet those friends who they never seem like anything bugs them or whatever, and then you realize that's just another level of it that they're dealing with, where you're like, why are they happy all the time? Like, oh, they're not. They've got this wall up all the time.
I don't know, you know how like shit slips in life sometimes, you know, stuff happens. You know, it's like I'm in this huge body of water, and I've got all these little flotation devices around me, and some are, you know, your family, some of your friends, some of your career, and then, you know, when one sinks, float over to the next one. And that keeps you around for a while. What happens if they all sink?
The Dup It is available on Amazon and on YouTube. And John, tell everybody where people can find you and follow you and all that good stuff.
Please follow me on Instagram at John Poveromo, JohnPoveromo, and at TikTok, same thing, at John Poveromo, Twitter, and johnpoveromo.net is my website. It's just my name. Just Google my name, you'll find me.
John Poveromo. John, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us, man. Again, I loved the Dup It. I think it's great what you're doing. I love your stand-up.
Thank you.
You're a great guy. Fabulous head of hair. You're covering it up today. But
I know, but it's here. It's here. It's just a mess. That's all.
Yeah, there you go. I used to have a head of hair similar to that. is now gone the way of
Knock
the
on
old
wood,
man.
it stays too.
Yeah. Well, God bless you, my friend. Take care, and thank you again. John Povaro, everybody, check him out.
Thanks, man.
What's that I see on the TV? Put Up, Shut Up, and Stand Up is on the TV. Make sure you tune in and subscribe. Don and Benny, they're awesome.
How you doing? Monty Belligerent here. I haven't been on in a while. Did you notice that? That's because I was watching the erection results. You see, I took a couple of Viagra. I took 2 of them. I take two Viagra to see what the erection results are. And I discovered when I take the first one, I'm able to pee straight into the toilet, because sometimes it pees on my, on my feet, or it shoots different ways, But the first one, right in. The second one, I don't know. That doesn't do anything. I don't do nothing with it because my wife, we stopped that a long time ago. I don't do nothing. I just take it Viagra for recreational reasons. They got recreational marijuana. For us old guys, they got recreational Viagra. I kind of like it. It's recreational. It's not too bad walking around with a stiffy. I can hammer nails into the wall, and I hammer nails into the wall with that second Viagra. You know what I mean? It's fun. It brings back the old days. When I was a kid, I just got a stiffy over nothing. I would lay in the bathtub and get a stiffy and play lighthouse with the boats. Watch out for the rocks. So those are the erection results this week. As far as the election goes, what are you gonna do? Monty Belligerent. Bye-bye.
Hey, this is Joey Petroni. Tune into GovsRadio.com and check out the new show by Don Sill. Put Up, Shut Up, and Stand Up. It's hilarious, man. You're going to love it. Peace.
So, Benny, can you believe it's been over a year already since we started airing our Pasusu, the game show, Put Up, Shut Up, and Stand Up? It started, I believe, on November 4th and, of 2019. And it's already been over a year. We had some great shows throughout the time. And the one we're focusing on today, what happened, I believe, November 23rd, 2019. It was when Justin McDonald faced off against Kristen Tinsley in their very first battle. The judges were Sue Costello, Nigel Fullerton, and Sally O'Neill. That's been a year ago. A year ago when we took that drive. Yes. And
we took a drive.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Don here with you. We got Sue Costello.
Hi.
And Benny Rizzuti.
Hey,
and,
how you doing?
We're getting ready. We just drove all the way from Astoria, Queens.
So far.
And we are ready to rock the show. So tune in 6:45 to see the pre-interview with Sue, and then 7 to 9 for the put down for the
Put up,
shut up, and stand up. Yeah, I met you at Gov's parking lot at like 4:00, 4:30. We drove out. It took us a couple hours to get there. We got lost a time or two. It turns out
I was standing on the wrong corner.
Yeah,
waiting for her.
Well, it turns out Astoria, Queens is crazy. I didn't realize it was nuts like that. The roads.
I kind of grew up there because I have a few uncles who lived in Astoria.
Oh,
so
wow.
I had cousins and relatives, so I used to go there. So to me, it wasn't a big deal, It was cool going there and picking her up. It was a lot of fun. Sue was a great judge. She really was.
Sue was a great judge. She really understood the comedians, and I think she enjoyed that role as the veteran comic, passing on advice and ideas to the younger comics. You can really see her shine through, talking to Justin, but also really with Tinsley. I think with Kristen Tinsley, I think she really took a special liking to her in that episode. And I just can't believe it's been a year ago. And you know what? When you think about Kristen Tinsley, who was the runner-up or the semifinalist in our first season of Pasusu.
She was a finalist,
yeah.
She was a finalist.
If you think about the great judges that she had throughout her 4 episodes, and the lessons that she had learned from each of them, from Sue Costello and Nigel Fullerton was there. We had her other episode was Frank Fiala and Pat Marone. two
Right.
veteran comedians. Then she had Charles Goonan and Tim Saliani, really kind of giving them their advice and their words of wisdom. And then Jackie the Joke Man Martling and very own Joey
Yeah.
Petroni, as well as
Joey
Sally
Petroni.
O'Neill throughout all of that. Kind of critiquing and giving advice and helping these comedians. And I think if you take all of those lessons from Sue Costello all the way down to Jackie the Joke Man Martling, and to have that kind of one-on-one and that kind of attention from those caliber comics, I think that goes a real long way. And I think that's some priceless stuff that these comedians were able to get out of the show.
Absolutely. It was a lot of people have to understand. I know they were nervous. A lot of the contestants were nervous about it, but it was a learning experience. It was really a learning experience for young, new comics.
And when you see a
comics
comedian
that were new to the
yeah.
scene and stuff, that they got seasoned veterans who, as you said, took an interest. And I remember that Kristen had a bond with Sue Costello in a way. Sue Costello was able to see Kristen's persona, and she knew the kind of material, and she gave, because I remember another episode that Kristen was on when she was in the finals, when we were doing the playoffs, more or less. Some judges, I won't mention names, gave her some advice, and she was like, no, that's not good advice for me, she said, because I might have said it just to me in the back room. She was like, no, Sue Costello knew what I was. And Sue gave her advice that she held on to.
Yeah, I think
that
that
was
happened
more
for
valuable. And
yeah, I think that happened for a lot of the comedians. I think that they all take away a lot of lessons that they used in their comedy, and I think I would say 99%. There's always that 1% that probably didn't learn a thing. But if I say 99% of the comedians that were on the show all came out better comedians than they were when they came in. And if you watch Kristen Tinsley, who I think is hilarious, I think she was hilarious on day one, and I think she was hilarious in the finals. But if you look at her arc, you could see that she was a better comedian show after show after show.
Yes.
And it's a testament to what we're doing. It's a testament to her as an artist. And it's a testament to our judges. So I just think, and it was the birth of the Dick Bumper. The Dick Bumper, Benny.
The Dick Bumper, that's right.
So I've lost all this weight, and now all I have left is the Dick Bumper. And the Dick Bumper is down here. This lower stomach part. That's still left down there. And I'm very, it's hanging. My mother stopping all the dick from getting in. But I'm very thankful for Irishmen because they don't give a crap. They do not care. They don't care at all. They say, hey, girlie, you're nice and cute and cuddly. Let me ride on your fat patty. And if I triumphant and get into the ocean before being eaten by the whale, well, then I'm having a good day.
All right, Susie, what's
The
some guys on
pluses, I liked your delivery. It was very funny. The minuses was I was confused about the Dick Bumper. I didn't know what because it made me think of like pinball.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe like a bowling, like a bumper. You know, the bumper and the pinball.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
something. See, they're kind of or bumper cars. That would be like because you said it keeps the dick from getting in.
So what's going on with Rodney Dangerfield? I know he's from Babylon. That's where he was kind of born and raised.
Yeah, he was born and raised in Babylon, and they want to erect a statue.
That
came out. They have an artist's rendition of it that they computer generated what the statue would look like. I think it's just the coolest idea. I think that there are a lot of Long Island celebrities. A lot of people who
I think
grew up
Rodney
here.
deserves it. I think they want to put it in Argyle Lake, right where we just were a couple shows ago. We were at Argyle Lake, beautiful lake, beautiful part of Babylon. What was it, Babylon Township, right in this middle of there, or Babylon Village, because you got West Babylon, North Babylon, and this is Babylon Village, Argyle Lake, a very beautiful part there. I would love that. I would go there a lot just to see that statue of Rodney Dangerfield, Long Island's own legend in the game. Did so much for comedians.
Yes.
Awesome
Had
guy.
his own club, did a lot. Like you said, did a lot for comedians. Very funny man. And what would be great is he would be surrounded by ducks. There are ducks over there. And you remember in Caddyshack, he farted and he was like, "Who stepped on a duck?"
Oh, somebody stepping a duck?
This is awesome. I'm hoping. So we got to sign a petition, right? They want signatures for this petition.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to sign for Rodney Dangerfield. I think it's absolutely awesome.
So I'm going to put the website for everyone to get the petition, so we could all sign this petition. I think the guy needs like 3,000 signatures to try to get this statue made and put on Argyle Lake in Babylon Village. So let's do that, everybody. Sign up. Sign up now. We're going to leave the link. The link will be in the body of, it won't be in this chat, but it'll be in the body of the print of the published piece that will be on YouTube. Just check it out and you'll see the link. So
yeah, and you know what else you want to do after you sign the petition? You want to join the link for YouTube, for Put Up, Shut Up, and Stand Up on YouTube.
Subscribe to us while you're at it. That's a great idea, baby.
I came up doing comedy in New York the old school way, in dark little smoky rooms. These crowds that just came to laugh because they needed to laugh. When we were doing this special, we wanted to capture what that was like. And that's what this is.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. D.C. Benny.
Long Island, it's good to be here, Long Island, yeah.
Hey, everybody, we're back, and my next guest is a hilarious comedian who's done everything, including Comedy Central Presents, where it was one of the network's highest-rated half-hour specials ever. He was also a finalist on Last Comic Standing, and now his brand-new comedy special, Adrift in Predicaments, was filmed right here in our very own Governor's Comedy Club. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the great D.C. Benny. D.C., how you doing, man? How's everything going?
Hey, Don, I'm good, hanging in. You know, what's happening, buddy? What are we going to talk about?
For me, I've just been, doing what I got to do during the COVID era, the quarantine. It looks like we're starting to get back into that. How have you been dealing with these last, 7 months doing this?
I've been very busy with a lot of little projects. That's, just working on stuff around the house, and we have a rental out here in Long Island that we, like a beach rental that needed to be totally renovated. So we did it. I learned a lot. Like, you need a permit for an outdoor shower or your shit gets shut down. Didn't know that.
They love permits out here. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've just been, trying not to go through comedy withdrawal, stage withdrawal, man. I mean, I've been also posting a lot of videos on YouTube, like sort of long chunks of stories that I wanted to work out on stage. So they're kind of raw and unfinished, and but it's something. It feels like I'm doing something, and the stuff that I wanted to get to. There's a lot of stuff that I wanted to get to, and now I have all this time to get to it.
That's the pros. So some comedians are enjoying this. Like I talked to Joe Matarese last week, and he loves quarantine.
I'm still liking it.
He's getting a lot done and being able to write and kind of focus on different projects. For other guys, they're chomping at the bit to kind of get out there and get back on stages. But because guys like you've been at it for a long time, really, grinding it out in the city. In fact, I don't know if you remember, I interviewed you about 20 years ago at the Zinc Bar in Manhattan when you were doing those shows, the storytelling shows. And I guess so you recently posted about it, and I was like,
are you talking about this?
Yeah, yes. I was there. Dude, I was there, and I interviewed you over the phone beforehand. Then I went to the show, and Jay Okerson was there, Greg Wilson, Vic Henley, the late great Vic Henley was there, and it was awesome. And I remember it was all storytelling, and I think the topic was the first time you lost your virginity, or some kind, or the craziest sex story, or something like that. Because I remember Jay Okerson's story where
Oh,
he swapped, him and his girlfriend or whatever decided to try swapping, and he you know, the whole time she was worried about it and he was ill into it, and then when they finally did it, the girl he was having sex with was crying the whole time, and then her husband is right next to them just going to town on his wife, and his girlfriend is loving it. So I always remember that story.
That was what's great about that room is those stories. No one ever heard them anywhere else. Like nobody was doing them on stage, and you know, that is such a Jay Okerson story too. I mean, I knew when we said Jay Okerson, I'm like, oh, there's gonna be some wife swapping. There's gonna be a menage and like a Nazi war helmet or something. But it was, that show was a great time, and I was just talking to Bert Kreischer on his podcast about it, because Bert had just come to New York, and the first 3 weeks that I did this show, he helped me host it, and he brought all these friends of his from Florida. So the whole audience, people from Florida, in a jazz bar in the middle of New York, that kind of expecting stand up, and then they got these stories. It was a lot of fun though, man. I love that.
It was so great, and the vibe in that room. It was such a small room too. It wasn't like a normal kind of like a seating. It was kind of like really jazz feeling and hipster. The lighting. It was just a cool atmosphere, man.
The Zinc Bar, the Zinc Bar. It was the old Zinc Bar on Houston Street, and they had jazz afterwards, and it was just. I loved that room. I loved doing that. But promoting a show, it takes a lot, and I had to go. And that was before anybody was doing storytelling, comedy storytelling.
Live from New York City.
People always wonder what comedians' lives are like off stage.
That was like the first of it, and now
you definitely started that whole thing because like I said, I was covering stand up back then for like Good Times magazine in Long Island. I was doing writing here and there for different stand up upstart magazines and stuff, and that's how I got in touch with you back then. And then through the years, you see like this is not happening like on Comedy Central, and I'm like, I swear to you, dude. And I'm not trying to stir you up or anything, but when I first saw that show, I actually looked for the credits because I was like, shit, man, his show finally got there, and that's just BS, dude.
More power to the dude. What happened was we shot a pilot of Urban Myth and took it to Comedy Central, and they told us that their audience didn't have the attention span for stories, and then.
Yep.
And then this is not happening. But the thing is that I can't bitch about it. It's like a network wants to work with who they want to work with, and that's what they did. They just they wanted to work with Ari, and so that's what they did. I can't. It's not like the first time it's happened. It won't be the last. But we did. Our show was the first one, and it was great, man. I loved doing that thing, and I'd hoped it would somehow find its way onto a TV, and God, man, the people that came through there. I mean, Ben Bailey, Robert Kelly, Gaffigan even came in, and
wow, cool.
Tony Woods, Mike Epps. I mean, I go down the list of guys. It was great, man. It was a great time.
That was such a great time. It feels like for stand up too. It was like the early 2000s, the late 90s, early 2000s. I forget if it was before or after 9/11 when I went there. It feels like it was beforehand, just because the tone of the city, but I could be wrong. But it was just such. It feels like such a great time for stand up, and like maybe the last great days. With cancel culture and all this stuff. I wonder if there'll ever be that kind of like comedy. I wouldn't call it that the Renaissance. I think the Renaissance was probably 70s and 80s. but it was a great time for comedy, man, especially in Manhattan, in the city.
It was great because I mean I remember bouncing from the cellar to the Boston to the, you know, all these little rooms. Then I had that. It was just like the Bermuda Triangle of comedy. It was just everywhere you go. There's these little places popping up. You disappear into them. You do your thing, and it was the cancel culture now. I mean, much has been said about it, but I do feel like there's going to be so much of a reaction against it sooner or later. It's just, you know, people want to laugh. You don't want to be told what to laugh at. And, you know, and I was posting something the other day, like a picture I posted. Somebody texted me, was like, hey man, you need to take that picture down because that someone's going to get offended and whatever. And I had to sit for like 45 minutes and be like, what, someone's getting offended by this picture? But I just don't need it now. I don't need the headache of it all.
Everybody, it's gotten very sensitive. It was very sensitive now. The comedic climate, everything's very sensitive. You know, people send emails, I get offended. You know, it is a crazy time. That was a great kind of renaissance, you know, for comedy where it was just no holds barred. I mean, the roasts back then.
Man.
God, the roasts. I did Barry Katz's roast, Rich Voss's roast, Patrice O'Neal's roast. Like doing all those. There was just no punches pulled.
This comes after a court case you may have heard of late. Barry's 5-year contracts have been accused of rape. A husband and a manager, 2 jobs. What's the trick? Hey, Mark Maron has 2 jobs. He's simultaneously an asshole and a prick.
They were brutal, and that's, you know, it was, and you knew going into it that's what it was going to be. Those were great days, man. They were great days, and I hope it gets back to that.
I hope we can get back to that, man, because like even with your kind of style of comedy, just doing the characters, and your characters do lean into stereotypes, and they're funny, and like, you know, like I just was watching the Great Habibi and stuff like that.
Well, I remember there was a period of time I got sick of doing my act. I wanted to do something on purpose that was offensive as it could be, and just see what happened. So I started doing this character on stage, and people believed it was real. It was this angry Middle Eastern comic called the Great Habibi, right? And I came out. You know, my opening joke was, "I hate juice, orange juice, apple juice, grapefruit juice."
Is this stuff that you are concerned about or worried about when you go on stage now, or do you just go, you know what, this is my act, let's see what happens?
I kind of, you know, listen, people can say stereotypes, but the characters that I do, they're ethnic. They tend to be ethnic, and I have a real love for those ethnic groups. It comes from a place of love. I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not shitting on them. I'm representing them. To me, the ultimate compliment is, like, for instance, the Great Habibi story. The ultimate compliment, for those of you who haven't heard it, or whoever's listening or watching or whatever, whoever sees this, I did a sort of a Middle Eastern comedian character. I would come on as a Middle Eastern comic, and people believed I was the dude, which is what, and Arabs and Israelis would come up because I'd throw in a couple words, you know, Khamsin-Dallah, you know, I'd throw in these words, and people would believe that it really was the guy. And that to me was the barometer of whether or not I should keep. I don't care if somebody comes up and they're like, you know, it's offensive. I one of the last shows I did before COVID, it was like one of these Brooklyn rooms, and this is New York, okay?
Right. Exactly.
New York. I can't believe, you know, I'm in there, and these girls booked me to be on the show, and it was like a hipster room or whatever. And before I go on, they come up and they're like, "Now we don't want you to talk about nothing misogynistic," you know. And they started giving me this list, and the last thing on the list was, "Don't do any voices or characters from countries you're not from." I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Have you watched what I do?
Get out of the stall. I go to leave. They're blocking the door. I'm like, no. And one of the guys comes up to me. He's like, you are American? Yes. You are American. I was like, no, I am a Great Habibi, right? That guy looked at me. He's like, I know. I buy your album 15 years ago.
You know? I mean,
that's your whole thing.
I've never heard that before. Like, don't do any impressions of, we're characters from a place you're not from. And that just blew my mind. I'm like, well, I'm never going back to this place. You know, I was like, I'm going up there and I'm gonna do what I always do. Because the thing about that room is it had shifted the bookers or whatever. It was the same crowd, and I'd been going to it. It was near where I lived at the time. And I'd done all my stuff, and no one cared. It was all, you know, little hipsters and the skinny jeans and all that stuff. No one cared. They laughed at it.
Right. Yeah. They
concern. Like, it was just so funny, man. And that to me is the death of comedy. When I hear that kind of stuff, I'm like, I don't really want to associate myself with it. I'm going to do what I do. If you don't like it, you're offended, you can leave or you can say something or whatever. But I don't get off on being offensive, and I don't want to offend people. I really don't. I want them to come and laugh and whatever. But I just can't have these rules. You know, as a comedy or whatever, you go, there's enough rules out there where you got a corporate gig. You can't say anything about anything. It used to be colleges. I mean, I haven't done one in a long time, but the colleges, you know, there'd be a whole list of stuff that you can't. As soon as you get to college, that's all the kids want to hear. You know, now I think it's different, but all they wanted to hear was all the stuff that you're not supposed to talk about.
Right, exactly. They thrived on that.
So if the administrator wasn't there, you just talk, you give them what they want, you know. But I think it is, you know, I haven't been on stage in so long. I'm in this bubble here with it. I wonder, it just surprises me that New York is, you know, they have a stick up their ass so much about this stuff. And then I go to other parts of the country and it isn't so much like that, you know, or it has over the last year, that was my feeling. I feel like New York being the Mecca of stand-up, the cancel culture wouldn't be as prevalent because there's so many, just everybody's forced to be together, but just this, it's there so much. It's crazy.
Then I moved to New York. I moved to Brooklyn, and my neighborhood was hostile when I moved there. Like this 30 years ago, the first day I'm there, I get in a confrontation, you know, with this guy. You know, I ought to bust your face. I ought to bust your face. You stand on my block, you don't show no respect, you look in my eye. I ought to bust your face. I was like, look, officer, I'm just trying to.
It is crazy because I was thinking too about like guys like you know, Bob Nelson, whose act was that whole football thing, and he would go through that, you know, the United Way, and he'd do all that.
Football in my life. I love football. You see me playing football on the football field with a football.
I'm like, I don't know if because he still does the same stuff, you know, and I'm like, I don't know how that is going to go over in this culture anymore. But you know, but to your point, yours characters, you know, like I love your uncle-in-law too, the racist uncle-in-law.
We had a party. And we invited our friends, all different shapes, size, colors, and we invited him, which in retrospect was kind of a mistake, because he showed up and he kept trapping people in these conversations. You know, like, you know, there'd be one of my white friends, and he'd have him on the wall, and he'd be like, "See, you feel that way because you're white. White is without color. See, white people came from the ice. Brothers came from the sun." That's why white people can wear shorts in October and shit like that. You understand?
That's a hilarious piece. But I think with your stuff, they contribute to the storytelling. You know,
it's part of the story. It's what moves the story along, and it's my life. These are people in my life that I'm talking about. So if you don't like it, you're not in my life. You know,
right? Yeah.
You know, you want to go for the ride, we'll go for the ride. It's like a road trip, you know, or whatever. But you cannot tell me I can't talk about these people in my life. I'm not just making a random observation about, you know, oh, that guy with the turban, you know, or whatever it is.
Right, yeah.
Dude, this is a thing that happened, and this is something, you know, for me, that Great Habibi story was really hard to bring to stage at any point. At any point, and I really just wanted to get it recorded before I couldn't do it anymore, because I can't imagine doing that story now. I can't imagine doing it. You know, it's like I don't even know if that thing's going to get any airplay. You know what I mean?
So everybody's laughing at the table except for this lady. So she keeps asking me more questions. You know, she's like, so are you married? I'm like, yes, I have 7 wives, 1 for each day of the week. You know, Tuesday is my favorite. You know, I drill her like oil field, you know, fracking all night, fracking in the butt. Right? Everybody's laughing at the table. This lady not laughing.
I don't know. But it was a time in the city where, you know, this stuff happened. It was like, you know, you'd experiment as a comedian, going on doing different characters. There was a guy, you know, who was a comic at the time who was from the Middle East and did his whole act about being a Middle Eastern terrorist or whatever. You could never have that now.
Silence! I kill you!
Right,
And
yeah.
so for me, that particular story was important to preserve a little of the history of what we all went through at that time. I mean, that's for me what these stories are, is they're funny, but there's a little bit of history, you know, that I hope doesn't get lost. You know, one day someone looks back and they're like, holy shit, they did it. The great Habibi, you were allowed to do that?
Yeah, you were like, exactly. Now you got that on the recording, and recorded at the brokerage, which was really cool too.
Yes, recorded at the brokerage, indeed. You know, and I don't think anybody got offended by it that I know of, you know.
No, everyone was digging it. It's a hilarious story.
So she's like, let me switch gears a minute. Now, one of the concerns here is language. One of the concerns is language. You know, if there's going to be a language barrier, are there phrases that are different, like your language and culturally with our language? And I was like, yes, like the phrase camel toe. You know, in my country, it's not insult, it's compliment. It means your vagina have the strength of 1,000 camel. Right?
You know, and to me, like this whole, you know, cancel culture thing, I just wanted to like go away. I think when you start to mess with comedy, which is the last kind of voice that is honest, that, you know, could tell society, hey, look, here's the mirror, look at yourselves. If you start taking that away and not allowing that, I think we're really in for it, man.
People don't like to hear the truth, you know. They really don't. They like to create and you know, my truth is not going to always be someone else's. But the thing is, if I can't do comedy the way I want to, I'm not going to do comedy. So as of now, you know, we'll see what happens when everything, even if there's a law that says you are not allowed to, you know, do voices from places you're not from, you know, there's going to be an underground movement of people doing voices. There's going to be just a segment of people doing voices. You're going to walk into a room and it's going to be like, you know, whatever.
Everyone's just free to do it. Yeah, like you said, there'll always be, people are going to make a movement to do it no matter what. Like right now, we're not allowed in New York to have ticketed comedy shows, but there's still these secret underground shows all over the place. There's rooftop shows in the city, in, you know, Brooklyn. There's basement shows. People are finding a way, no matter what. You can't stop people from, you know, doing what they want in a way, or you know what I'm saying? So, and that's the thing with this cancel culture. You know, I was talking a while ago to Tom Dreesen, who was like furious about cancel culture. It was great to see him actually get fired up like that.
I dare, anytime somebody comes to me with politically correct bullshit, you know, I tell them, I mean, I get angry when I even speak about it.
Right.
Who are you? Who are you? We keep apologizing to you and we don't know who you are. We know who the Republicans are. We know who the Democrats are. We know who the Independents are. We know who the Kiwanis, the Moose, the Elks are. We know who the Ku Klux Klan is, but we don't know who you are. And we keep apologizing to you. You know, it's BS.
But he's like, who are these people? They have no face. Like, who's the leader? You know, who could we negotiate? Who could we talk to about this? It's just this weird, you know, movement that we can't see it. We just feel it, you know, the impact.
Well, a lot of it's because there aren't faces, because so much of it is on the internet. It's so much is on Twitter and Instagram and here, that you never have to meet the people who are the representatives of the cancel culture. They can just nullify your life's work.
Right.
I you know, I mean, even like, okay, so I'm on this show, Supermarket Sweep now. a game show. It's on ABC, and Leslie Jones called me up. I was like, "Do you want to do this show?" And I'm like, well, "What am I going to do on it?" She's like, "I don't know. We're going to get you on it, you know." And I don't. I'm going to say that, you know, the people, maybe some of the people behind it didn't necessarily really have anything invested in having me on it, you know. But Leslie, they were just they want Leslie to be happy and whatever. So. And they didn't know me, you know. I was kind of like an unknown, you know. I'm not a superstar on that level.
Right.
So when I went out there, I don't know what I'm. All I know is I'm going out there. I don't really know what I'm doing. It's just I'm going to be there. And I get off the plane, and I get to the set, and like the producers and all the people are there, and they're like, "Hey, you know, hey, DC or whatever." And Leslie's like, "You're gonna pop your collar like it's the '80s, like you're Manny from Scarface, right?" And I just see them like, ugh. So I'm this cashier. I'm like the head cashier, the manager of the supermarket on the show. And I say these things. Eventually, we started being able to squeeze in a few lines that I would write. And they're kind of like flirtatious. They're very flirtatious or whatever, but they're kind of benign or whatever.
Really? Which emperor?
The one with no clothes, baby.
I don't know what I said. I can't remember the line, but if you see them, they get progressively just a little bit more.
You gonna get DC and his crew to get to tabulating.
I put the elation in tabulation, baby.
Do you say that to women? I bet you that works.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and so somebody wrote, you know, that cashier is kind of creepy. he's kind of a misogynist or whatever. It's like one person made this comment, but it was the most benign line. It was like something like, I'm popping collars and counting dollars, baby, or something like that. It's just ridiculous. But it's so funny to me to see. Meanwhile, other people really like it, you know, and the show's going great, and it's fun to be a part of it. It's fun to have somebody rooting for you that's like trying to insert. She knows what I do. Lenny Marcus, who's the producer, knows what I do. So they kind of like push for me to get a line in here or there that's actually funny, you know. And it's just the reason I went on this whole long thing about it is just that you can't tell what people are going to be offended by. I said something super benign, and that somebody way out in the middle of nowhere, you know, got their knickers in a twist about something really small. So it's just, there's no way, even with cancel culture, even if everything's canceled, you're still going to offend somebody, you know?
It's impossible to please them all, especially with, like you said, with social media. All it takes is one little text or a tweet or whatever, or unlike button, a thumbs down button. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because people pay attention to these, to the, you know, all those kind of stats.
The thing is, you can't pay attention to it. You can't, like, you and I can't pay attention. These other people are going to pay attention to whatever. I did a special in a dry bar special in Utah, which is all Mormons. And, you know, you can't say anything. And the last time I had been out there, it was probably about 15, 20 years ago in Provo. And there was no alcohol then. It was a dry state. Now it was like you can get it if you get food in a limited amount or whatever. Right. So it casts a certain, you know, aura over the whole procedure. But the amount of stuff that you could not say, you know, you couldn't say God, you couldn't say this, you couldn't say that, or you couldn't say that. So I'm like, okay, I can work with it. I'll work with it. And I would push it up to the edge of saying something, you know, like mother flower or something like that. Right. And it was fine. You know, it was weird because it was less the audience. I was warned that the audience would kind of clam up if you crossed the boundary or whatever, but it really wasn't the audience. It was more, you know, the people who administrate to this stuff, or who, you know, it just the fear of offending. I'm like, God, when did we all get to be so easily offended, man? I mean, you know, it's like we're all riding around with helmets and stuff on our fucking 10-speed, you know? I mean, I was talking to somebody when I was growing up, dude. My dad would send me to buy. I'm 8 years old on my bike. I had a note for the Chinese restaurant where they had a cigarette machine. I get him his Marlboro Reds. And then I would go to the liquor store, and I had a note for the Korean guy at the liquor store to get Almaden Mountain Red Burgundy. I would put it in my bike. I'm like 8 years old, man. No helmet. I'm riding no hand. You know, holding the gallon jug of Almond Red Burgundy. I mean, now my parents would have lost custody of me.
It's crazy times, man. But we need comedy more than ever, and you know, and that's why comedians got to stay the course. We can't give in. We can't, you know, you can't be submissive to these outrage specialists, these SJWs. But no, this is great. I like I said, I loved everything. The brokerage special is great. I just watched it again recently.
It's on Bill Burr's, what is that? All Things Comedy. It's on YouTube. People can watch it on there. So it's, you don't have to pay anything. You get to watch it. There it is. It's funny. It's all black and white. You know, it's old school, man. We did it with, you know, I'm not out there with leather pants and a DJ and backup dancers in a theater. It's just like in a club with a dude with a mic. And that's, to me, what comedy is, you know?
Exactly. It's real. It feels real. And that's what I love about it.
I'm like, dude, I don't understand. He's like, you know what? I'll tell you what it is. This is because you're Jewish. That's what it is. See, the Jews, what they do is they miscommunicate. You miscommunicated the potency. That's what Jews do. And that's how circumcision got invented. It was a miscommunication of agriculture advice from God to Moses. God said, tell them if they want them to grow, they must chop the tops off the crops. Moses said, chop the tops off and that's what happened. That's how it went down.
So just tell everybody where they could find your stuff, where they could watch Adrift in Predicaments and all that good stuff.
Okay, so here's the crucial stuff. Adrift in Predicaments, the special is on All Things Comedy's YouTube channel. Okay, I have my own YouTube channel and I post up raw stories almost about every other week. So they're adult bedtime stories, and I post up stand-up clips and things like that. I'm the real DC Benny on Instagram, and I teach a comedy class, comedy storytelling at Manhattan Comedy Institute. So that's a lot of fun. 6 weeks, and we work out stories, and there's comedians and people who aren't comedians and whatever, and it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy doing it. So all those things are there. You know, hopefully you guys will check out the work, and more of it's coming. And it was good seeing you, Don. You know, be safe. Let's get through it. Let's get back out there and make people laugh, man. That's what we do.
Yes, indeed, my friend. It was great to see you. Thank you so much for doing this, and I appreciate it. DC Benny, everybody. Thanks, man. All right, everybody, we're back. What a fun show, Benny. What do you think, man? That was a good one.
Oh, it's awesome.
DC
The show
Benny
was awesome. I wish we were outdoors. So, you know, you and I could have fun, but we're in. You got me out of bed for a change.
You're not in bed. I was very happy about that. And plus, it's been such a rainy, crappy week. It's probably beautiful out today, Wednesday. But what, you know, the week leading up to this, just was rough. But I do want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to John Povaro. Thank you to DC Benny for being on the show. Thank you to everybody who contributes. From Stevie GB to Benny Gaguch, Rizzuti, Sherry Poland, Joey Petroni, et cetera, everybody. Thank you so much. And please subscribe to our YouTube page. And we appreciate it. And share away and let the world know that we exist. Put up, shut up, and stand up. And we will see you again next week. Benny, as always, you're awesome.
No, buddy, you're awesome.
No, you're awesome.
You're stupendously awesome.
Peace, everybody.
Peace, brother.